well, we got there in the end. Sorry about that, guys. It's not been my day. The trains were not very kind, so that's why we started really late. So you can blame TFL for making me late by half an hour. I was stuck between, Turnpike Lane and Manor House. It took like twice the time it normally takes, and then we got stuck at Honors Grove, and anyway. But it wasn't nice. I don't know why the last 2 days Piccadilly's had delays, but anyway, it is what it is. So we only got 3 topics to talk about anyway. So first of all, North London Derby. First of all, Eugene, your thoughts on that?
We were shit. We didn't turn up, and we deserved to lose. But the way we lost was hard to swallow. So, but it is what it is. The blame is flying all over the internetverse, right? Everything's getting blamed, right? So let's see what we're gonna blame next.
Yeah, that's a good point. How about, what do you think of the starting lineup though? Because obviously we went to a back 5-4.
We had Denso, Denso and Romero and BDB out there, right? And then we played Spence on the left. Was it right?
Right. Yeah.
And Udogi on the left.
Mm.
And Odobe on the left.
Odobe was like playing.
Yeah. And Odobe wasn't even there.
Yeah, he wasn't even
there. Sorry to say that, but yeah, I know. Only thing I can't accept is that it's like they didn't show any kind of fight. It's I don't want to swear, bro. It's the freaking North London Derby.
There's not enough effort, really.
And the worst part is, right, I had to do it in the Mamak restaurant alone until 2:30 a.m. in the morning.
That's bad, yeah.
The things you do for Tottenham Hotspur and YouTube content.
But yeah, for me, I can see why he picked that sort of team, because bear in mind, Sunderland played a 5-4-1 or something of that variation when they got a result against Arsenal.
We are not a team that can even handle one kind of style yet, and we want to try so many other styles. Yes. He must pick a style to master now, right? The freaking sitting back, right, bro. The first half we didn't even get up into their half of the pitch. You get what I'm saying? We hardly ever were in their box, right? And the XG, I don't know. And a lot of people argue about the stats and all that, the eye test, the stats. But when the eye test and the stats matches, right, that's when it's freaking scary. You know what I'm saying? It looks like your team has got no hope.
Yeah, my XG was 0.07 or something like that, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah. Second, we break 2 records, in consecutive games.
Because we got the PSG game, of course, but that was, we got a goal back, but it was too late by that point. Richarlison's goal was just too late.
No, to tell the truth, right? The PSG game, I was a bit more happy with it, right? It showed that we were pushing, we were pressing, we were doing something apart from taking our pants down and let people hump us for whatever they want to do, right?
Whatever reason. Yeah.
Whatever reason, right? So now it showed that our intent was different. The mentality changed to a different standard, right? Bro, it's PSG, right? To tell the truth, right? The Arsenal game and the PSG game, we know we weren't at their levels, Their style of football and passing and all the movement and tactics and the know-how, right? It's like they understand. So that's why I say, can you blame Frank, right? Or our expectations of him is too high at the moment, right? But we have seen that this group of players can play a different style of football. That's for very obvious reasons, right? We see our own highs, right? We can play style of football. So maybe he will be a bit more adventurous from now on. But
But do you think
on,
that, for me, the PSG game, right? What I found really interesting was he went to a 4-4-2 essentially, or people said four
yeah,
two two, whatever you want to call it. But what was interesting to me was he
4-2-2
picked
or
four
4-4-2, yeah.
four central midfielders, arguably, which I've not seen since Martin Yol was our manager back in like
Yeah,
2005. Because we used to play players like Genius on the right, Tainio on the left, or Gali on the left, whatever. And then we'd play obviously Defoe and Keane, or Defoe and Mido, or whatever two strikers he would pick. But do you think? Why do you think? We'll ask that in a minute. But do you think that it was a good thing because it gave us a lot of variation in the sense that when we didn't have the ball, he could go with a compact four, and
yeah,
then
I understand,
yeah,
but that what JJ says, I understand. You think he's
mm,
meddling with teams too much. I don't think so. I think he's trying to find out the right combination,
right team, yeah.
of players that he can use to the style that he want to play, right? And he plays like what he did in all the games now on, right? It shows that, all right, we are building an identity. We are a footballing team that pressures, right? If they make mistake, we take advantage of those pressures. Yes, yes, yeah. And now I think that's what he's trying to find. But the thing is that whether you can find that kind of combination to make it a successful, you know, style, formation, or whatever, right? Or tactics. And it's good to the eye. Yes, most important, it must be good to the eye. So I know. PSG game shows that it's not saying it gives me hope. It shows that we can do things differently. But bro, I did the watch along, right, with Guy. It was a very funny thing, right? All we kept saying is that our bozo moments are coming, right? And usually we can't hold our bozo moments for too long, right? Like our first half, our defense, right, were even though it was, less bozo-y, right? But we still conceded. No, bro.
Yes, bro.
They've got world-class fucking players, right? How are we going to compare?
One mistake, one little tiny mistake, and they scored two.
Yeah, and when we make that mistake, right, they're like 2 times faster than us. Yes, sir. That's why we call them world class.
Was it the third goal when he backheeled it straight to the player and he scored? I think.
Yeah, I know.
Like within 1 second.
And the worst thing is that, right, when we ever concede a goal, I don't understand why all our players, right, it's like, they've just got something shoved up their butt and they can't move. Yes, sir. They just lose it. We have to find players that are mentally strong. I don't know. Maybe it's the situation, or whether what that you're faced with shit. That's why you think you're shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's right. But being a Spurs fan, all I can say, right? Look at what I have here. Winners 25. That's all I'm going to say, right, for this season. Right? That's we have to enjoy it when we can. You can say that.
Yeah.
We don't get these shit that often. So, that's the few things that we have to enjoy. Remember that, right? And forget who won it, how we won it, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then 20 years down the road, right?
Yeah.
People ain't going to remember that we were 17. They will just remember that we won something. You know what I'm saying? Because we were winners. Right? We are winners. So all I'm going to say now is very simple. PSG game shows that our players do have the quality to attack, but the PSG game shows that our players have bozo moments, and our bozo moments come from long periods of time. It's just not lapse of concentration one or twice, right? Sometimes we have bozo moments for about 15 minutes of the game, right? It's like we can't get the ball out, we keep giving the ball away. All these bozo moments all add up. So I hope he can coach it out of them. If he can't, then he will have to change, right, the players that he can trust to not have bozo moments while playing his style football. So I know PSG is good. I see I'm happy. Time from 17, yeah.
Do you think he's struggling? Because bear in mind, I mean, he came for Brentford, and he's a much bigger. Spurs are a much bigger team than Brentford. Like, and the expectations are a lot higher.
Sorry, what are you saying?
Do you think he is struggling? Do you agree with Daniel's point, Frank? Do you think he's
Struggling
because he
with
said
what?
the job's too big for him?
Frank says a lot of things, right, bro? I've come to the stage that, you know, he said too many things that don't match up, and this mistrust is already happening. So,
Mm.
you get what I'm saying? Yeah, if we don't beat Fulham, we're right back in trouble. Newcastle away, yeah. To tell the truth, right? Newcastle away is going to be a really, really tough place, right? Bro, we were bullied over there at one time, remember? During the Carabao Cup. They practically just
4-0 as well.
pushed us over. Yeah,
Yeah.
pushed us over. Right? But no, being a Spurs fan, we must learn this. Number one, we take one game at a time. Because every game we take, right, we have to take the shit. No, but to tell the truth, right? Weren't you happy with the performance yesterday? And for about 60 minutes or so.
It was a lot better, obviously, yeah. But do you think it's down to like the players more, the tactics, or a bit of both? Because Marnie was probably his best game for Spurs, really, since he's been there.
I don't know. Maybe it's the right kind of mixture and formula that's going to work. So if the Fulham game, he tries the same thing again, right? With slight tweaks, right? He might need some slight tweaks, right? The 4-4-2, right? No, it might turn out to be a good way for him to find out what he can do with what he has this season to bring us as far as we can, right? And a lot of people are saying, nah, to tell the truth, right? He's got basically an Ange team. He played an Ange team yesterday.
Yeah, plus a few players.
Yeah. Apart from Kudos, right? Palhinha wasn't on. Who was on? You can't. It was basically the 2024 team.
Well, it was. You're right. It basically was the 2024 team.
Apart from Kudos, right? So, I don't know. He's stuck with a dilemma, right?
How about
he's got
great Graham Bergvall? We'll talk about them in a minute. But you were saying, so do you think, because a lot of people argued that he went to pick Gray, Bergvall, and some of these players, Berra and Paulinho didn't start, to rest them, the players obviously that weren't playing, in regards to the Fulham game, which we'll talk about, of course, in a minute as well. But do you think that was a part to play in the team selection? Because Marnie needed minutes, Richarlison maybe needed more minutes, and the midfielders like Gray, Bergvall needed minutes. He couldn't play Bentancur and Paulinho. And Xavi didn't play, much to a lot of people's disappointment. But the back four was pretty much the same, wasn't it? As normal. I mean, I guess Udogie didn't play, but he did rest half the team again. Right?
Bro, the PSG game, what he told them was, right, just go play Ange ball, and that's what we saw. Right, and the best part, right? This is the psychological thing about Spurs fans, right? We need to see this kind of football, but we need to see this kind of football throughout the whole 90 minutes, right? Whilst the result is positive towards us, but we don't.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. We're cursed. Spurs fans are cursed, right? I don't know. We call it the Levy curse or whatever. Now it's been lifted, right? Let's see January transfer window. If we do make a few big moves in January transfer window, it shows that we have intent, right? We're moving in a different direction. We're getting quality players in and all that, right? Even if it doesn't work next season for Frank, right? And any new manager who comes in, hopefully it'll be a Glasner kind, right? Would gladly take over the spot. That's as much as I don't care. Richie's got 3. Yeah, I know. The hate that we give Richie, and he's our freaking top scorer, right? What can you do? It is what it is, right? But we need.
Do you think he's going to keep him? Do you think he's going to keep him?
All right. Richie has become our Brenda de Lima. Remember?
Yeah.
Brenda is shit, right? We all know Brenda is shit. But last season, he scored 16 Premier League goals, right?
He
The
could.
question is,
He could.
should we keep
Yeah.
him? But we can't keep him. We can't lose him. He's our only goal scorer, right?
Mm.
But this season, he's not doing too well. You know what I'm saying? So all I can say is that, I don't know. We tend to keep shit.
And the biggest problem we have, Eugene, in general, is our players rely on others to kind of succeed. At least most of them do, because Richarlison will not create his own goal, as in like he won't create his own chances. Mwani's the only player I've seen that can do that. Maybe on the front line. Obviously, you spoke about Johnson. Johnson last season only really did so well is because we put the ball on the plate to him on the back post for him to tap it in. But if he comes on himself, he can't. You know, you don't. Obviously, Frank must tell him to try and take on the wing and put across him, but he doesn't have the ability to do so. Like, he doesn't seem to do it. So, isn't the biggest problem that we have a lot of players that just won't take responsibility?
No, the biggest problem is, right, we have to be very, very honest with ourselves. Right? As football fans, we've watched football. We know what kind of quality good footballers are, right? The worst part is that we are Spurs fans. We've been sold this idea, right, of a certain style of play.
Yeah, you're right. You
guys know, right? Of a certain style
100%.
of play.
Don't worry, I agree with you completely, by the way, about that. Completely, 100%. Yeah.
Richie is less. Well, last season, yeah, I just said that, right? So, yeah. No, but what can I say? We were sold some kind of dream, but now we are in a total metaphor. How you say that? A change, right? A total change. A new manager comes in, right? We are so smart, right? We go and sack the only manager that has won us something, right? Right. And our fan base wanted it. So this is the shit that we deserve. It's called karma.
The thing is, though, the problems we had weren't going to solve themselves in the space of like a few months because the Rock got so bad.
But Hans, the only good thing about this, right? We can't go any lower.
We can't.
We can't go any
lower. What I'm
lower.
saying is
if we don't go any lower, right? To be frank out,
people don't realize how bad we are. That's what I think. People just don't realize how bad we are.
Bro, when I look at our players, I look at a bunch of lost footballers.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. When Ange was around, we look up like a bunch of lost footballers that knows how to attack.
And that's the only difference.
Yes, that's the only difference.
Because Frank,
we're just stupid, right? We play stupid ball. We give the ball away. We don't know how to hold the ball. How do we call ourselves footballers?
I don't think he's lost the dressing room.
No, to tell the truth, right? Okay, that could play a part in it. That's why the players are swinging back and forth. The players are not getting the message clearly through. You get what I'm saying? So that's why our players are acting like that.
But don't you think, because obviously he plays different systems, not every single game, but he tries different systems for different games, right? Do you think is a problem as well? Because it's a good thing, because I like it personally. But do you think it's a problem for the players because they don't get used to, say, playing one way, and then next week they're playing a different way? No, so, for example, one week played a 5, then we played a 4, then we played
the worst part is, Harry, when that diamond formation was on that field, right? Our defense looked so impregnable.
Open.
When we held that formation, right? But when we went to the second half, right, we held a flat formation, and when that flat formation happened, right, that's when they started to press us. Now, to tell the truth, it's basically we get players, right? I think it's the problem with the recruitment, right? And this recruitment sickness has gone through our whole quarter century. Bro, we got frigging a quarter century, right, of clearing the dead shit.
Issues, yeah.
Right.
We've got issues.
Yeah. So, no, first of all, we need to get players, right, who would play for the badge. Yes, need to get players that have mentality, not that the head goes down whenever we concede a goal, and we don't know what to do after that. When we concede a goal, we look lost again. And every time when we concede a goal, we look, I thought, more bewildered, right? So
Bewildered,
I don't know.
yeah. I think I noticed was
So-
that Vicario, every time we concede a goal, he shouts at the ball, and I'm just like, but it can't always be their fault. Like, because Vicario, I would argue, could have saved the second goal from was it Eze?
Bro,
in the derby?
it didn't matter. No, to tell the truth, it didn't matter. The PSG game was just two totally different quality type of players, right? You get what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But we put up a performance, right? A Fulham must win. Yeah, I know. If we took our way of playing, that way of style, right, and break it down to 20, 20, the 60 minutes, right, break it up, right, and ease it in properly. Let's hope, right, we get a result there, because we did show some performance. I don't know, right? Let's say too much tinkering. We put up a good performance with this formation. Will he go out there and think that, okay, let's start with this formation, the same players again, we don't give an F about it, put on whoever the youngsters were, Archie was there, right? Starting out.
Archie and Bergwall, yeah.
Right? Was Sarr starting with Archie, Bergwall, and Sarr?
It was Sarr, so Gray and Bentancur were the middle, and then you had Sarr and Bergwall on the wing. I say wings, but I don't know, playing on
the 5 midfielders.
So it was Bentancur, Gray, and then we had Sarr, Bergwall, and then you had Richarlison and Moani up front, and then the back 5 as normal.
Okay.
It's very Martin Jol, because Martin Jol used to play, like I said, like someone like Genius, Carrick, Huddleston, I don't know, and like
I know, that's why, right?
Edgar Davids on the left, or Tinio on the left, or Tinio and Carrick, Davids,
yeah, I know,
and like Genius and stuff like that, right? Yeah.
We had players at the time, right? I think we need to look for footballers, right? Right, really footballing minded people. I don't know, right? So that's it. Clearing out that 25 years of neglect and deadwood and mentality. Right, bro. We still got players like Ben Davis on our bench, and our fans says that he's such a loyal, blah blah blah, good, servant to the club. Yeah, big up, right? That's why we won't win shit. Standards, right? That's the standards I want. I want to win the league. I want to win the Champions League, right? But
not with Ben Davies. You're not going to win the Champions League.
It'll take us a long time, right? Bro, we tell the truth, right? Number one, we got rid of Levy. He's out. Okay, number one. Number two, we need to change the mentality of the club, right? If our club still thinks the way that under Levy's era or whatever, we'll still be stuck in the same scenario, right? We can't just go out there and buy, spend money like crazy and buy all sort of players, right? We spend it smart, right? It's not that we haven't spent money. That's the worst part, right? In the 25 years, in that tenure, I think in this last 5 years, right, we spent the most money. But it's also thanks to Levy. It's because he said the stadium.
I think we spent since 2019. I don't know how accurate the stat is. It's something I just saw in a chat on one of the streams. Maybe it was Stell's channel, Spurs Corner. But I think we spent almost since 2019. We spent almost the same amount, if not a little bit more, than Arteta has. Except the difference is since 2019, we've had 6 different managers or something. I don't know, some crazy like that. 3, 4, 5 different managers.
Right.
They just had Arteta, and they've had spent all of it, the money on Arteta, basically.
Yeah, but okay. Come the Fulham game, right? Being a Spurs fan, right? We're at home, right? And the worst part is now we've got home PTSD, right?
Yeah, we do. We do.
Yeah. So all the home Spurs fans, right? To tell the truth, right, I'm going to do a 4 a.m. watch along for this game. Okay. So
it's 8 o'clock in the evening. I know. 8 o'clock
yeah.
In the evening.
And I don't understand what the hell's wrong with Premier League. They never ever had to have so late matches.
Eugene, I don't like it either. 8 o'clock on a Sunday, Saturday.
Yeah, and the worst part is my
Saturday's gone. My Saturday's basically gone because of the game.
And the worst part is, right, our Saturday is gone. My Sunday morning is gone. right? If we win, it makes me happy a bit. Then, but shit, man, need to sleep, need to work.
I'd rather it was like a 3 o'clock kickoff and it wasn't even on TV, if I'm being honest.
It is what it is.
I miss those 3 p.m. kickoffs. 3 p.m. kickoffs weren't that bad. I think we've got Brentford 3 o'clock next Saturday, actually.
Yeah. That'd be a good one. 3 o'clock is about 11 p.m. That's a nice time for me. Right. Finish the game.
More reasonable for you and more reasonable for me as well. I prefer the 3 o'clocks, to be honest. Because once you get home at like dinner time, let's say.
Are you going to the game?
Tomorrow, yeah. So tomorrow, me, my older brother, my dad, and also my cousin from Cyprus will take him to the stadium for the first time. So hopefully he sees the Spurs win because I mean he's never seen the stadium. So.
Okay, okay, guys, I've got this idea, right? I think our Spurs stadium, right, is too touristy, right? Yeah. It's too nice to the, I will call opposition fans, right? You know, we should put them right in the corner, top somewhere high up there, right? And let them all suffer up there. You get what I'm saying? Because what do they pay, right? 30 quid, right? Put them all up there, right? We treat them too nice, right? Why? We need them to spend the money, right? That's why the
Tottenham. You mean the away fans? We have the away fans.
Yeah. Like, we had to treat the away fans worse.
But also, Eugene, not just that. You know, I went to the Spurs tour. Was it a year or 2 years ago? Anyway, with my cousins or something, because again, they hadn't wanted to see the stadium. So, you know, I went to the away changing rooms and the home changing rooms. Now, the away changing rooms are actually really nice. And this is part of the problem. Like, they're going there and it's like, oh, this is probably might even be better than their home stadium.
Yeah, that's why. You know, what we should do, right? The first thing what the Lewises and ENIC should do is, right, renovate, right, that frigging, right, away changing room, make it into a 1980s changing room, right, with shit falling out from the ceiling, right, stinking like shit, right, make them feel as uncomfortable as possible. No,
someone take a dump in the toilets and open the thing and let it just...
open the window, right? So no, we treat them so well. That's why everybody loves to come to our stadium, right? And shit on us. Right.
Difference is the old stadiums, Eugene, do not have this. Like the old Tottenham Stadium, I went on a tour back in the day.
Bro,
like
10, 12 years ago. This is a very simple thing, right? It's just all being commercialized. So you see, it doesn't matter to the stadium, right? To the owners, right? To the business, right? They don't give a shit what color you wear. If you go in there and spend money, right? You'll be treated.
They don't care.
Right? They don't care. So to tell the truth, right? What we should do now is, right? Start planning, right? To renovate that stupid away room, right? Turn it into
make it worse. Make it worse.
Yeah. Turn it into a hellhole for the opposition players to go into, right? Don't freaking turn it into bloody Ritz-Carlton for them to go into, right? Yeah, where the butler is standing next to you, right? Excuse me, girl, would you like some water?
But they are really nice. Like, because I saw the NFL one, you get to look at. I went in for like 5 seconds, but the NFL one,
NFL and all that's business, right? When it comes to football games, right? We should make it as uncomfortable as possible for the away fans, right? Right? How many away fans tickets do we give per game? 5,000?
Like, something like that. Yeah, something like that. So maybe the away section, you know, they have all the nice bars and stuff. Give them like Wetherspoons or something. But then again, Wetherspoons is cheaper. So what do they...
No, we should make a section, right, to put 5,000 fans, right, and just put 3 toilets. That's all. Right? They'll fucking go crazy. That's why do you think Manchester United, right? They have the roof is leaking, right? Right, rats running around, right? But it is what it is. Now the Fulham game is a must-win, guys. Come on, right? But Fulham has always been a tough opponent, right? Because they take this derby more seriously than we take this derby because we look at them as the little brother. You get the little brother, right? Yeah. But I tell you, right?
Frank, so my cousin went to Palace away, and he's Cypriot, of course. Right? He sat in the Cyprus, the away end at Palace. You know, AL Larnaca beat Palace in Europa Conference League 1-0. He went to the game. Yeah, and he told me about it anyway. But like, obviously, their facilities are not that great, obviously, like in Palace compared to like Tottenham. But they still won the game 1-0. I mean, it was a massive thing. For a team like from Cyprus to beat a team in England away from home is quite a big thing, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. All right, but what do
But
what
Fulham,
you,
do we have a good
you
record
are
against
going to,
Fulham?
we
Yeah.
have good record against them, right? At home, right?
Do we have a good record? We didn't beat them last year. We drew 2-2, didn't we? I think at
Last year
home.
last year we didn't beat anyone, bro. We lost
Yeah.
22 times. Don't look at last year. I keep telling you guys, right? The only thing that you look at last year is, right, the trophy, right, that we brought home. Forget all the shit behind it, right? You gotta forget it, right?
Yeah.
And,
So obviously January's coming around. We'll talk about this and then we'll just finish up because you need 6:36 here, and you said you want to go. So, but like the transfer window, are you expecting us to do anything in January?
of course I am.
I mean,
the true, right? I'm fucking expecting, right, to go and get proper player for Frank or two, right? If they do two, right, that means we're fucking serious. You get what I'm saying? But if right, Enid gives Frank these two proper players, he still screws up. Okay.
Yeah. Do you think there's a possibility he might get sacked? Say if we lose on Saturday.
Nah, I ain't gonna get sacked. Nah, guys, we ain't sacking Frank. Okay, simple as that, right? It'll be freaking crazy to sack Frank now. Okay, who the hell's gonna come? You know? All right, tell me who's gonna come. I'm gonna get what, Klopp?
You know, Liverpool, you joke about that. You know, I was reading some rumors, not rumors, there's some reports now the past couple of days. I think Athletic posted something about it today, but there was another report 2 days ago I read on Twitter. I mean, it's a good source, by the way. It's not just some random person. And he was saying Liverpool are not actively looking to sack Slot, but they are monitoring his performance because obviously they've lost 9 of the last 12 games or something like that, which is really bad because they spent how much money did they spend?
Yeah, I know, but of course, right? All managers are being monitored. You screw up, right, with the players that you get, the money you spend, right? Then you get the pressure, right? So now it's whether Slot can keep that alcohol, don't lose it, right? And resist the pressure. Yes, you know. So it is what it is. But if he starts winning again, right? I don't know. I already told you, right? Liverpool needs to sell Salah. Liverpool needs to sell Van Dijk, right? When they get rid of these two old farts, right? Then
don't worry, Eugene. I'm in your camp because I said at the beginning of this season I didn't put Salah on my fantasy team on purpose because I knew this is the season he's going to drop. And Van Dijk's the same. Van Dijk, a year older, I think he's going to drop. And both those players this season have just completely dropped. Like Van Dijk's not the same player. And Salah's just after his crazy year last year.
Harry, imagine, right, in January, right, Spurs signed Salah and Van Dijk on loan.
But we won't, because you know Semenyo has been linked with City, Liverpool, Arsenal. Because apparently,
we who the hell are we gonna be linked to, right? It doesn't matter. We can be linked to anyone, everyone in the world, right? Get it, signed it. Yeah, linked.
I read that Semenyo is a priority for City because they don't want to rely on Haaland apparently for all their goals, basically. So they want to buy someone else to help ease the burden for Haaland. But I guess they'll play Doku on the left and Semenyo on the right, something like that, I guess.
Okay, it's a very simple thing. Any big football club, right, that gets a main striker that scores so many goals in one season, right, will never bring in someone else to try to replace it. Because if you bring someone else to try to help him or replace him, whatever, right, it hurts his ego. When you hurt his ego, yeah, it'll go down. You get what I'm saying? So that's why, okay, like the season Haaland played with Julian Alvarez, right, before they sold him.
Yeah.
His goal rate dropped. So so it's an ego thing. So that's why the same thing with Harry Kane, right? The only thing is that Spurs, didn't find a proper replacement for him, right? And after that, we lose Son, we don't find a proper replacement, right? And then to tell the truth, we won't give the youngsters a chance, right? We won't give Scarlett a chance to see whether he can do something, right? Or give some of these boys a chance. But we have to learn in a proper way, build a proper team and the proper squad. Like I said, it's just not an overnight job, right? Of course,
we're almost starting from scratch. It's almost starting from scratch, in my opinion.
Yeah,
anyway.
Almost right. We are actually starting from scratch, right? But guys, the truth, I'm gonna make a move soon, right? So
yeah, okay. Please go subscribe to Spursuasion TV if you haven't already. You're doing a 4 a.m. watch along, so please go watch his watch along because
Yeah, I know,
mean,
but I'll be doing it
he's
from
up,
home.
he'll be up at 4 a.m. So
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Harry, take care. All right.
Okay. See you later, guys, and come on, you Spurs.
Yeah.